Well, welcome, Alex. I'm really happy because you're my first guest interview for an interview on my YouTube channel.
Oh,
So,
well, thank you for having me.
well, I think
Happy to be here.
we needed to have a pandemic to basically decide to do online videos and interviews. So,
Wow,
Brad,
that's pretty deep.
it's a sad story, but that's what it is, I think.
It is, it
Um,
is.
so you have this new product, and I'm really curious for you to explain what it is. And I've got a couple of questions for you on it. But first, just tell us, first of all, who are you, and why GlitchCore today? You did anything with that like that before, or what's the background of this?
Sure. First off, my name's Alex. Last name is Matheu. I'm a iOS audio developer, and I've made a few apps in the past. And I took a long break for a while in between my apps. Work got really busy. As a day job, I'm also a developer. And I created my first app. It was Glitch Breaks, and then second, another app called Sliver. And I'll explain a little bit more about them, but my newest app is called GlitchCore, and it's a AUV3, and it runs in a AUV3 host. So the one that mostly everybody uses, and it's runs, in my opinion, the best in is AUM, but it can be used in GarageBand, it can be used in Cubasis, it can be used in BeatMaker 3, Nano Studio. Basically what it does is it takes audio, and since it's an AUV3 effect, it takes audio and rearranges the audio based on how you would like to, basically resequences that audio, and also does looping, and it does micro loops, which I call glitches. So you can take any sort of audio that's on the channel and then apply these effects to it in real time. And its focus is it's more of an effect to be played instead of just an effect to set and forget. So you take it and you can perform with it, basically do performance while audio is streaming through. So if you can imagine, as you have synths or drum beats or drum loops or even a drummer playing through it, you can rearrange the audio and start tweaking it and glitching with it and perform with that audio, or with another person on the other side feeding through the channel. So,
Okay.
and that's the concept behind it.
So
Is
my question is, how do you get with this idea? How do you get to say, "Hey, I'm going to create something like that"? Because for me, it's for a lot of people, it's going to be, okay, this is just bizarre, you know. And the first time that you open GlitchCore, you go, how does it work and what does it do? And I'm not really sure. If you don't understand how and where it comes from, it's kind of a weird piece of gear to play with.
Well, originally my first app, it was called Glitch Breaks, and the concept behind it came to me because I was writing a lot of drum and bass, and dove into like creating my own glitchy kicks and beats for my drum and bass that I was creating. So what I would do is I would juggle break beats in a DAW. So I'd line up 4 channels of different break beats and have them running, and then I'd start meticulously cutting them up into different cuts and cutting them into small little micro loops to glitch them, and then I would solo those channels to juggle them, basically perform on the just like a mixer by exclusively soloing those channels in order to juggle the breakbeats. Well, that
Okay.
got very, very tedious, and I
I
I
guess
thought, oh,
so.
I said, oh, I could make an app. I was already a developer, and I said, so I hadn't gone into iOS development because the iPhone at that point, this was before the iPad had come out, and the iPhone was very new. I made it on an iPhone 3, I believe, is what I first targeted. 3G is, I think, what I first targeted with Glitch Break. So I thought, oh, I could make an app that just lets me juggle those breakbeats, and I can record them, and it'll be much easier to create the songs I'm after. So it was purely written with my own goals in mind.
Well, I
And
think that most good ideas does like that, by answering someone's needs. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so Glitch Core As Glitch Breaks was out, and it was out for several years, I started getting asked by a lot of people, can because Audio Bus had come out and it could be used in Audio Bus, and people wanted to use the Glitch Breaks effect, like basically taking and micro looping pieces of audio and glitching them out and recutting breakbeats and stuff like that. They wanted to use that as an effect on a channel in Audio Bus,
Okay.
and that's where that idea came from. So actually, in my second app, Sliver, it's got some similar concepts, but it's geared for like soundscapes and to make sound textures. But I was able to do that. I was able to make it affect audio running through that with different buffers and stuff, and that's where the ideas were born. So GlitchCore is, you can think of it as the core of Glitch Breaks as an audio effect.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So I think the best example comes from the person who designed it, because the logic of, you have a better idea of what type of sound is better used in this sense, or create cools effects. So how can you show it?
I have GlitchCore here, and I have Alpha, which is a synthesizer that's running on this channel. And I wanted to show it to you because a lot of the times with Glitch Breaks, people expect it to be based off of just breakbeats or loops. And I wanted to show that it can be off of a synthesizer that's getting run by MIDI. It doesn't have to be a static sound because it is an effect. So I have Alpha, and running a small sequence, and it's being driven by Boot Machine. And it's just a quick sequence, and I wanted it so you could hear it dry without anything. That's what the sequence sounds like. And as I put GlitchCore onto it, you'll see it starts to light up down here, and you'll see the buffer is there with the audio. And when it's buffering it, it's a 1 bar buffer that it'll sit and loop, and then you can affect that bar as it passes through like that. Hear that? Or you can rearrange the audio as a pattern. And then start. And you can go backwards. Just a little portion of it. All while it's running. And at that point you can then change what's going on back here to and you'll hear it as the different notes are still changing as it's still driving it back to dry. So basically, the way that works is that it's taking a cyclical loop of that sample, and it'll let you rearrange the pieces on everything it picks up because it keeps overwriting itself. So if you had something that's going to actually be in the future, it uses what it just recorded on the last pass. And if you have something that's going to be in the past, it obviously recorded what was in the past, and it keeps recycling that. So there's also a freeze there. So if you had a loop and someone was singing, or if you had a synth that was doing something and you wanted to just affect that frozen part, then you can have just the part that's frozen, and then you could actually then stop everything else, and you've got a frozen part that you're then affecting, and you can keep frozen. So people have used that to be more like a on-the-fly looper that you can use. That's not really what it's meant for. What it's meant for is if you, especially with vocals, if you're talking through it and then you just want to freeze that part and manipulate it, then you can freeze that part and manipulate it. And as soon as you unfreeze, you'll go back to the audio that's in the channel, which at this point is no audio in the channel. So as the loop runs out, as the buffer runs out, it goes back to no audio.
I have a question for you. The
Sure.
length of the buffer, is it linked to any type of musical value, like
It's 1 bar. It's a 1 bar buffer that's
Okay.
and it's syncs to the host, so
Okay.
it'll sync to the host. And I'm actually in a future update, I'm going to be have a variable bar buffer. I'm working on an update now for that, and as well as picking up different time signatures that are set by the host. So as you see this grid, it's all in 16th notes, and as you set those, it'll drive the sequence.
So when you move from left to right, your plus sign, you controlling
Yeah,
what
so this is
exactly?
this XY pad here.
Yeah.
What you're controlling is where that micro loop is, the start of that micro loop is. So as I bring it over here, see how it's going all the way to the left? It's the start of the
Okay.
micro loop, and then to the end. And then as you control up and down is the size of the micro loop. So as I go really tight up here, it's very small. Here I can. And also there's some settings that you can set as you, so this glitch step, you can have it be freeform, which works really well on drum beats, or you can have it be, so it locks in the micro loops as you move that to 64ths or 30 seconds or 16ths as you move them, or it makes it a little more musical when you're affecting a synth, for example.
Okay. Cool. That's pretty nice.
And,
can it receive MIDI messages to?
So it has all the every component in here is mappable via AU parameters.
Okay.
So if you go to MIDI control here and you get the channel that it's on, and then you find GlitchCore parameters right here, you'll see it's got the entire list of all the parameters, and yes, you can automate those. Now, it uses the host to do that. So if the host can automate AU parameters via MIDI, then like AUM can, and most of the hosts can, then you can assign a MIDI controller to control every piece of the app. And I did want to show a drum loop at one point. So as you can see, I just have a file player loaded here, and this is going to act a lot like glitch breaks would. So as I have this drum loop going through, I can, and here, let me just load up quick. So there's a bunch of presets that I've created and had a lot of our beta testers that were beta testing it created as well. So I can load a drum and bass one up, and what this does is it'll slice the beat when I hit a pattern here into a kind of a drum and bassy sort of a vibe, right? Of course, if I had the BPM higher, it would be a little better, but. And then that's a little backwards. So that's actually taken and playing the buffer backwards for you there. And then you can switch patterns at any time, or you can randomize the pattern.
Are you playing with the buttons on the bottom of the pattern?
Yes, I'm playing these buttons down here. Down here at the bottom of the pattern. So there's randomize, and there's also this one that's what it'll do is, depending on how many times you have it playing, it'll switch patterns for you. So I believe I have it on 2. So as it's cycling, it's on the 5th pattern. Now it's on the 6th pattern, 7th pattern. And at any time you can edit those patterns by just drawing on the grid. And it's really easy to just edit them. Or what you can do is you can also, instead of cycling patterns, you can have it randomize patterns every time. So now see that little dice is lit up down there, the little die. And after a certain number of patterns, it'll randomize it. And sometimes the random can give you great results, and of course sometimes it'll give you bizarre results. So as you're on this grid here, you can just easily tap the ones you want to remove, or you can easily just draw like a little line of them, however you like the patterns to be.
And your patterns are the numbers on top, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the patterns.
Yeah, those are the 8 individual patterns. And what they and here, let me just show you the as I resize it here because it's pretty cool. It does a lot of dynamic screen sizing for your screen. But as if you can imagine that from left to right is the pattern as it plays from left to right, it plays that part of the waveform. And let me show you this, because if I make this diagonal line all the way, it's going to play all the way across. So as it plays from left to right is the location, it's in time that it plays. And as you put a square from the bottom to the top is the location in the buffer that it plays. So if you want to play,
the first one over and over again, you just put it everywhere at the bottom.
Yep. Yeah. You want it. And if you wanted to. Okay. Or if you wanted to do like a little.
So it's also a way to recreate a new drum kit off a sample of a loop.
Sure. Yep. And you can also do that. So not just drums. You can do that with any audio. So craziest thing I found is so you can take textures of sound. So I was out and about, recording some sound and you can then resequence that into something musical by just cutting it up and sequencing it out. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so what you can do is, so I have this voice sample in here, and you can do the same sort of.
Happiness with pills. Head by off on happiness with pills. Head on
and of course, then if you had a crazy pattern, you can make some interesting. Oop, I didn't mean to hit random there.
This is great. I love this.
So you can just create crazy stuff like that.
But it's actually pretty cool because I'm actually working on the song, well, actually an EP now, and I have no lyrics. And that's the type of stuff I love, to create vocal sound, but nobody cares about the lyrics,
Right. Yeah, I had some people, they were sat with I think there were some stock lyrics, and they were making a house track, and he said that he got mesmerized because he was just sitting there for hours just rearranging the vocal hook over and over again. So he just recorded it for a very long time and kept rearranging the vocal hook. So it's just really interesting to see how people use it and just do some really crazy stuff. And that's what it's really geared for, is to do sort of bizarre things to audio. So
I like it. I like the fact that you can easily reassemble stuff, and it's cool. It's a cool thing. Well, good job, man.
Oh, thank you.
And you talked a little bit about the future, meaning you wanted to be also able to have a choice of the length of the buffer. Any other scoop you want to give us on what's coming for this?
Well, yeah, so I have planned for an update, and I've already mentioned it a couple of times to people, but yeah, definitely the buffer length, and then also time signature. So I would take time signature from the host and be able to do strange odd time signatures, but then that would let you change those lengths of the grid. So every note in the grid could be a different length. So those are planned for a future update. Also, some other things planned is going to be amplitude per slice. So you'd be able to change amplitude for any of the slices. So have an editor there. And then maybe farther in the future would be different envelopes for those for each slice. You could get different envelopes going in the slices. And I know I've been asked for the reverse function right now. It overrides reverse on the whole sample, but in order to reverse individual slices, people would like to do that. So those are some of my planned features.
What about multiple outputs? And you can group everything, like everything that is bassy on output 1 and everything that is snare on output 2, and then...
So I was going to look into that. I know that. So as I was creating GlitchCore, a good friend of mine, Bram Bose, happened to put out Scatterbrain, and my heart sank because I thought I got Sherlocked right when I first started to see Scatterbrain, and then I started to realize that because I ended up buying it day one, and I played around with it, and then it was like peanut butter and chocolate, basically, the way Scatterbrain and GlitchCore work together. And when I talked to him, he said that he was super excited to try them out together, and it was pretty cool. So, and I've seen a lot of people using them together. So, but that was one of the big features in Scatterbrain, is to have the multiple outs and audio. So I hadn't really explored it because I felt like I didn't want to step on that territory yet. But yeah, I think that I'm going to need that. Another thing I was thinking about is multiple ins. So in multiple inputs.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing that I did was I recreated more of a emulator, glitch breaks with AUM using Mosaic and GlitchCore. And what I did is I loaded up 4 channels of audio, and then put Mosaic controlling MIDI input to those channels. And basically all it was when I hit pads in Mosaic, it would take each channel 1, 2, 3, or 4 and solo them exclusively. So that had my breakbeat juggling. Basically, I could load up file players with all my breakbeats on them, and then I put GlitchCore as a output for each of those channels, just all piping into GlitchCore, and basically made a. Actually, I think I have it here. So there we go. So so channel 1. Preview of it there. So you can see as each of these 4 channels back here are running into a bus that's run into GlitchCore, and then they're just all getting controlled by Mosaic by soloing each one. So that was my little glitch breaks emulator. So,
well, as you say, in the future, there's a lot of new options you can add to this thing. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I like it. I like the approach. I like the performance aspect of it. So and especially in my case, the vocal, I will play with that a lot.
I want to hear it. Yeah, whatever you do, let me send it over to me so I can check it out.
That's pretty cool. So I say thank you for the time for explaining all of this, and I hope that our viewers liked it. And if they have any question, they can put it in the comments, and I will send you the question. And if it's something I can explain myself, I'll do it. And if not, I'll ask you again more details.
Very good. That sounds great. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been an honor.
And stay safe.
All right. You too. Stay safe out there.